Of course, since we are talking in this field, David, because we have to be aware that there is a difference between knowledge and wisdom is not in what, because many people they can be intelligent and they can be very conscious. How do you think academics help your conscience other than acquiring knowledge?
What happens is that we acquire awareness based on situations that have taught us that good or bad, because a person who has been instilled in an example from friends, family, that stealing is good, you have to try, you have to defend yourself. If someone comes to hurt you, pull out a knife. That person loves them within your knowledge. They believe that that is the way to defend themselves, and that's how they have to do things. So the moment someone comes in and says you want to hurt or argues with you, your conscience says you have to defend yourself, you have a knife, sure. So but that's a person that's there and that's programmed under that education scheme. But the person to whom he educates and says, no, violence is not the result, we have to dialogue. If a person goes to you and wants to attack you, there are many ways to defend yourself. They will practice it the moment they have to make the decision. So they both gain knowledge because they were both told and programmed. How should they behave, say, in the same situation? Only one, their conscience is going to say, do this, you have to do this to solve your problem. To the other, no. So both have knowledge. Both were fed with knowledge, good or bad. But there were guidance where they decided to make a bad decision. With my conscience, he made the wrong decision. And here, as I was programmed, structured in this way, I go and make a decision based on my different conscience. Everything will depend on how we have been trained or programmed. We are programmed and were created with a society in which there are different estates. We are going to act based on that environment in which we develop.
Of course, yeah, and apparently this, for example, consciousness is like software that requires all this information for Yand. I believe that the academic thing that helps is to help you discern the information, because it is important to be aware of something, but that on the basis of knowing, also discerning to be able to use it is like having a hammer and not knowing how to use the hammer. So I think the importance of having an academic education is because they teach you how to discern information. For example, as a chemist, you may know this better because many chemical theories, but then you go to the laboratory and it is something practical and you unify what verses told you with what you have to practice manually. And maybe there you find another kind of experience, and that experience promotes a new sensation, but also curiosity, because conscience is always curious to practically say, also to recognize if there are certain dangers. I wanted to ask you this because since conscience, is it an alert system, for example, you as a chemist, David, when you have to make a chemical mixture that you know can be a little dangerous? How do you handle those cases?
First and foremost, caution is essential. What specific precautions should I consider? Let's start with something simple, like mixing an SO with water. First, they tell you how you have to pour it. It's not water on acid if you don't put the water and pour the acid there. Let's put it this way, because it can generate an exothermic reaction that can splash, use safety measures, glasses or gloves. So, but why did this happen? But in passing an experience that someone did, the outcome was disastrous. They advised against this approach, noting that I had not been informed about these two substances' interactions because someone had previously experimented with them and caused a
good or
notable
bad,
incident.
and this is transmitted then. And there are many things from the same fact. An example, there are liquids that you cannot take out of the bottle through your mouth, with your mouth, for example, and there are people who have done it and have been burned. So there he says, no, he's not like the kid anymore. When you give him something, the food is hot. And it can be seen that you are blowing the spoon a little to expand. But if the kid goes and puts it in his hot mouth, he'll never do it again. He himself is going to start crossing you because he learned based on experimentation. So if your brain and your advice tells you no, bad decision, that smoke comes out, that it's hot.
That's right. It's truly fascinating when considering the brain's capabilities, for example. He acquires this information and always tries to warn us of the dangers, right? And also talking, for example, about that of consciousness, that whether we are experiencing a simulation or not, because the question is always how. Why do we wake up knowing that it is us, not and that is what consciousness is programmed for. That is what consciousness exists for. That's why I think our genetic evolution also created consciousness. To understand this, we must look back into history. How did we survive and what led us to become who we are now?
One,
A group of people, we became tribal because we consciously were only easy prey for our predators, and we realized that if we joined together, we were going to come back. First, there was no easy prey for predators, but you could also fight against them and plan and organize and get out of the house. And that was where perhaps we learned to raise awareness of our life and also the life of another person. And also, logically, biologically, we're designed to mate, not procreate. My question, David, what do you think about those early stages of why human beings began to have consciousness for other human beings?
look, first we talked about something the previous time, that a child when he is born has no conscience that he is good or bad. He is a child without a filter. Risky? Let's say if he does not see a danger in anything, but based on the facts that are happening to him because he is without a filter, he already recognizes that it is a danger and that it is not, that it is good or that it is not good, or that it is dangerous and that it is, let's say, a situation where it is not going to cause any harm. Likewise, the human being as such, based on everyday experimentation, we all learn something every day, of course, and that causes our brain to generate and store information for us. So if I live alone, it is difficult for me to get married. So if I marry someone else, there are already two of us, we can marry a prey. But if there are many of us going, we can do much more. In turn, we learn a lot through observation, and if we observe a lot, this is how societies were created, through agriculture, through fishing, seeing what first you voted the seed and then time grew a tree into agriculture, the beginning, or what it was like to transport things, or here an animal, could I get down so I could transport myself. The first was created in the middle of mobility, first DE, to accelerate mobility. I believe that the decisions we make or what we learn are to project our whole, because they are situations in which we learn but we do not learn. For our present and not for the future. All the decisions we make are projecting it into a future that we do not visualize, which will serve me. This 50 years from now cannot serve me for any moment in my future life, and we are going to preach about the future. You didn't know when you were 20 years old, when you were studying your career. You didn't preach to yourself what you were going to do. You just said it was going to help me for my future. This will do me good. So within societies, the decisions that were made were also for the future. We didn't know how much the future was going to be, and we don't know because the biggest question we have is that we don't know anything about the future. We prepare for a future, but it is unknown.
New York City. There's so much more beyond our lives. Let's explore.
I'm a beast. You know I'm a beast. Welcome to the feast. My whole team off the leash. We don't know defeat. Everybody eat. Hey, you know I'm a beast. You know I'm a beast. Welcome to the feast. My whole team off the leash. We don't know defeat. Everybody eat. Hey, you know I'm a beast.
Can I run up the score, run up the board, breaking them all? Ay, ay, walking the door, you know what happened? We step on the floor. Ay, ay, coming from on, you don't want problems, you already know it. Ay, ay.
to create.
I'm trying to coexist